The boys have been kicking Soup butt since 2019, and with a 4th season dropping, 2 spin-off shows, and a Homelander appearance in Mortal Kombat, Amazon's flagship series is more popular than ever. But what is it like if you start The Boys from the very beginning right now? That's exactly what we did. And these are some of the things we noticed that you probably missed the first time around. The only time The Boys even remotely resembles a normal superhero show is during the very first scene, when Queen Maeve and Homelander save 2 teenagers from a group of armed burglars. After Maeve jumps into the path of a hijacked armored truck, the criminals take the boys hostage. And just when it looks like the end, Homelander immediately establishes himself as a Superman knockoff by using his laser vision to melt one of the bad guys' guns. It's a great introduction to Homelander's character. If you somehow manage to start watching The Boys without already knowing that he's the villain, it makes the reveal at the end of the episode that he's a child-killing monster hit even harder. That being said, the whole melting gun bit feels a little cheap if you've seen the show's animated spin-off. In the last episode of The Boys Presents Diabolical, the only episode that's confirmed to be canon to the original, Homelander runs into a similar problem at the start of his career, and tries to deal with it the exact same way.
It's hard to hold a gun when it's 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, you idiot! It looks...
This time though, the gun goes boom, blowing its owner's hand off and killing an innocent hostage. We can't tell you for sure which version is more realistic, but either way, it's impossible to rewatch that opening scene without thinking about how Homelander didn't seem to learn from his mistake. It goes without saying that Hughie is the most relatable character in The Boys. He starts out with a normal job. He gets nervous easily, and he really loves the music of Billy Joel. Even as he evolves from cowardly retail worker to professional soup killer, Hughie's appreciation for the Piano Man is something that always stays consistent to his character.
Don't you ever besmirch Billy Joel.
Throughout the first 2 seasons of The Boys, it seems like Hughie's musical taste might just be a matter of opinion. But that's not quite the case. As he explains to Starlight in the 2nd season finale, one of his most treasured childhood memories involved dancing to Billy Joel with his mom. Since she left her family when he was 6, it's one of the only things he has left from her. That's pretty emotionally charged for an edgy superhero story, and it paints every use of Joel's music in a whole new light. Considering that Hughie's mom makes her first appearance in season 4, it's likely that things are about to get even more heartfelt. The Boys have come a long way over the course of 3 seasons, and it's safe to say that they've become a twisted form of found family. That makes it pretty easy for people to forget exactly how violent it gets when Frenchie and Mother's Milk meet for the first time in years in episode 3.
You tell that to Mallory's grandkids. Tell them it's water under the bridge.
That wasn't my fault, huh?
Who is Mallory?
All right, look, both of you, knock it on the head now!
If you're watching The Boys for the first time, it doesn't take superpowered deduction skills to realize that Frenchie seemingly had something to do with the deaths of innocent children. As bad as that sounds, it's not the whole story. Frenchie only abandoned his duties to save the life of his friend Jay, who was suffering from a life-threatening overdose. Unfortunately, said duties were to keep constant watch over the Seven's lamplighter, who takes advantage of Frenchie's absence to make an attempt on Mallory's life. By the time Lamplighter realizes he torched the wrong bed, it's too late. Frenchie came face to face with a real-life trolley problem, so if you're rewatching MM lay into him during their reunion, it's hard not to feel a little bad for the guy.
Are you serious? Frenchie, why didn't you ever tell us?
What difference would it make?
As fun as it is to revisit the first season of The Boys, basically every scene involving Starlight and any male member of the Seven is cringeworthy at best and painful at worst. When Annie January joins the most popular superhero team in America, she learns that everything else at Vought International is also super, including the toxic work environment. Starlight's time as a member of the Seven would make any decent HR manager's jaw hit the floor. The Deep exposes himself to her on her first day, and instead of having her concerns heard by the company, she's forced into a skimpy new suit.
I can't wear that.
What?
Why not? It's beautiful.
Seriously?
On first watch, Starlight's new look seems like a simple commentary on the state of superhero outfits. But the golden leotard is also a pretty effective symbol for the metaphorical prison that she needs to escape. In addition to turning her into a product, the costume even hinders her when she tries to help the boys obtain a sample of Compound V, because she doesn't actually have anywhere to hide it but her boot. There are a few times throughout the series where Starlight's outfit sends some kind of message, and when she finally gives it up by throwing it down a trash chute, It's pretty clear that her time working for Vought is over for good. Fans who watched the first season of The Boys when it was first released were pretty stunned to watch Homelander and Queen Maeve botch a rescue mission so badly that over 100 lives were lost. What they probably didn't expect was that the crash of Flight 37 would end up being the most pivotal moment in the entire show. In Episode 4, the two members of the Seven made their way to a plane that's been hijacked by terrorists over the Atlantic Ocean. Homelander's sloppy lasering fries the plane's flight controls, making it impossible to land safely. He convinces Maeve to leave them to die, but when the passengers, or rather witnesses, realize they're doomed, he lashes out in a big way.
You stay the back or I'll laser you, I'll laser every one of you!
In the immediate aftermath of the crash, Homelander successfully uses Flight 37 to manufacture public approval for the integration of soups into the military. In following seasons, though, footage of the flight becomes the one piece of leverage that the boys have against America's favorite hero, leading to a superhuman Cold War of sorts. The disaster event sets up things for Gen V as Godolphin University's dean, Indira Shetty, seeks to stop Soups for good because she lost her husband and daughter in the tragedy. That's a lot of consequences for a scene that's just 5.5 minutes long. In the comic book version of The Boys, Tek Knight is a bizarro version of Iron Man, with a character arc too gross to get into here. Devoted fans were eager to see how he would turn out in live action. But 3 whole seasons of the show went by with no Knight in sight. That didn't stop him from getting name-dropped quite a lot.
Tek Knight's Night Racer had a carbon footprint the size of a 727. Thing literally shot fire. Thanks to me, now he drives a hybrid.
In Season 1, a young woman shares during a support group meeting that Tek Knight left her permanently injured after saving her from danger. And in Season 2, Homelander is told by Stan Edgar to attend the premiere of Tek Knight's new movie. For a while, the only things anyone knew about Tek Knight were his penchants for high-emission machinery and collateral damage. But that all changed with Gen V. In the spin-off series, the hero who has superhuman perception and his own true crime TV show comes to the Godolphin University campus to unravel the truth about the recent deaths. It's here where we learn that his recklessness once claimed the life of another Soup called Ironcast, along with his unfortunate kinks. Anyone who's already seen Gen V will definitely raise an eyebrow whenever they hear someone say the name Tek Knight in The Boys. Even though he's killed by Hughie with creatively placed explosives in the second episode of The Boys, the Seven's resident peeping Tom Translucent isn't given a proper farewell until the first episode of Season 2. Even though his intestines are used to paint the walls of the boys' hideout, Vought tells the public that he's merely on a top-secret mission somewhere remote throughout Season 1. After so much waiting, it's only fitting that Translucent eventually gets the Vought-approved funeral he apparently deserves, complete with an empty glass coffin, a forced musical number from an obviously uncomfortable Starlight, and some thinly veiled propaganda from Homelander. Everyone who's anyone in the Soup community is in attendance, including the fallen hero's family, of course.
He said, "Hey, Homelander, tell my son Maverick that I love him."
Nobody knew it at the time, but this actually turned out to be the first appearance of a future Godolphin University student in The Boys universe. As we see, or more accurately don't see, in Season 1 of Gen V, Maverick has made his way to God U. He's there to hone his own powers of invisibility, along with his conflict resolution and guideline enforcement abilities as one of the school's resident advisors. He's not played by the same actor as he is in The Boys, though. So in order to prevent inconsistency, Gen V Maverick is all invisible all the time. He really takes after his father, especially when it comes to walking around naked and being a creep.
Hey man, no kink shaming.
The Boys Season 2 jumped headfirst into a political storyline involving a popular congresswoman named Victoria Neuman, and a Soup with the ability to make craniums explode. But as it turns out, the final twist at the end of the season reveals that these two people are actually one and the same. This was a massive shock when the episode first came out, but if you watch Season 2 over again, it's actually pretty obvious in hindsight. The head popper first appears in the second season premiere. After the deputy director of the CIA has her brain blasted, the boys make a run for it, and when Mother's Milk asks Frenchie if he knows anyone with the ability to turn heads into slurry, there's an immediate cut to Victoria Neuman on fake CNN. There are some similar clues in the editing, when Neuman uses her powers to turn a congressional hearing into a total bloodbath. Neuman's outright villainy in Season 3 and Gen V makes her much less sympathetic on a Season 2 rewatch. Leave it to a politician to end up being a monster. Every member of the boys gets their own turn to share their dramatic backstory, and Mother's Milk finally has his opportunity in Season 3. Soldier Boy killed his mom while trying to stop a group of thieves. His dad fatally spiraled during his efforts to bring the so-called hero to justice. And MM feels the need to finish what his pop started. It's a dramatic and emotional reveal, even though it had already been referenced halfway through Season 2. In Episode 4 of that season, Nothing Like It in the World, Hughie, Annie, and MM take a trip to North Carolina to investigate the mysterious Vought hero, Liberty. In order to convince a woman to give them the information that they need, MM opens up about his family history a little ahead of schedule.
When I was a kid, something happened between my family and Vought, which I'd rather not talk about, but it was bad.
MM goes on to talk about it in much more detail a season later, and once he does, it's impossible to see his character in the same light again. He isn't a soup killer with a hidden daughter. He's a family man doing what he has to do in order to get closure and protect his loved ones. And yes, that includes punching his ex-wife's annoying boyfriend.